Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere on demand, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and more, and especially on my YouTube channel, where you can find my past 510 shows, but who's counting? I am grateful to have been splattering more hope and happiness on you since then and highlighting what is good with life, what is good with the world, what is good with our community, what is good with you, and what's good with me. And I'm so grateful that I get to do some pre-records while I'm in Canada. And I'm so grateful that you are here with me. I am grateful for all the support that I get from my social media families, from my longtime listeners and my new listeners here on the morning show. And thanks to all the guys at KCAA who support me. I knew I forgot someone the last time, including all of the background folks like Mike Lundgren and Rick in the Morning, who's in the foreground and the background helping me out, General Manager Mark Westwood, and station owner Fred Lundgren, and all the staff that are actually on location out in San Bernardino. I'm so grateful for all of your help all of the time. Xie. By the way, that's Mandarin for thank you. And it's not S-H-I-T, it's S-H-E-A, xie. So you learned a little bit of Mandarin this morning. So we've got a great packed show as usual. We're going to start off with the question of the day. And today's question of the day is, how can I lose all of the weight that I've gained over my lifetime? And how do I deal with not looking like I used to when I was blankety blank. So for me, I have proof that I used to be thin. I have these wonderful pictures that I almost don't want to put up because when I was Miss Hamilton and first runner-up in Miss Hawaiian Tropic, I had a kick butt or no butt body. And I can blame it on my two beautiful girls. I can blame it on midlife. I can blame it on, you name it, I can blame it on. But the reality is, it really is not fun looking at those pictures because I want to look like I used to. So if you're out there listening and going, oh yeah, that's me, and dieting is just like this horrific experience because it's just a losing battle. It doesn't matter how much. I probably gained and lost at least 1,000 pounds in my lifetime. And it's just not fun. So what do I do about that? Well, I absolutely know that I have to be okay with where I am. And that's a hard concept because if I am okay where I am, does that mean I just go all full on and just might as well just eat everything in sight so that it doesn't matter all, and I'm proud of how I look and I'm proud of the extra, whatever it is, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds that I put on in the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years of my life. And by the way, I'm ageless, so I'm not identifying with any of those numbers, but you get what I mean. I'm doing this because I get it. I get the frustration. I don't know very many women who actually like their body. In fact, that's why I started this special series, which you can get on my YouTube channel, Sexual Healing with Dr. Marissa. And I brought in people, tantric, It's not appropriate on my morning show, so I'm not bringing it here, but just to tell you that you can find all of that. I had a researcher from the University of Guelph talking about condom research, Dr. Robin Milhauser. So I had various answers to how to love your body more and how to love pleasure in your life on my YouTube channels. Just free subscribe there. But today's question of the day, I wanted just to talk about the reality of how do you love your body when you really don't like looking in the mirror. And you know, the name of my show is Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, right? That's why this is going to be, you know, I may not take this advice all the time, but I do take it some of the time. And I have been on this quest to be okay with the way I look and be okay with my body size. At the same time, still trying to be healthy, still trying to actually have a body that I don't cringe at. You know, people used to say, you know, you look great, and you know, you've lost weight, or you look amazing. And I say, yeah, that's because clothes are great hiders. If I took my clothes off right now, you would, you know, run away screaming because I'm hiding stuff. I try not to say that anymore. It is still funny, and you know how much I love laughter, and so I'll say that, but I'm bummed for the comic effect. But the reality is, one of the best practices that I've started in the last, I would say, year, and thanks to a lot of the teachings from Abraham Hicks, the law of attraction, that I can't get to the body size or the body weight or the body image that I want if I continue to hate my body, if I continue to hate what I look like, if I continue to hate the weight that I've gained. So what I've been doing is trying to hold at the same time. And you know me, it's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. The balance I'm talking about is, can I do and reward myself and encourage myself and cheerlead myself to do what I know is healthy, and at the same time appreciate what my body can do and what my body is exactly where it is. And so that is the answer to the question of the day. That is my #Blisscipline. Part of my practice is, I know that when I say, I don't care, it's useless, it's hopeless, I'm just going to be, you know, fat. And my mom's voice when I was young, you're fat, you're ugly, you're clumsy, you know, and the critic bashes me over the head and it's useless. Just go ahead and eat everything that you want, because, you know, that's just that's what's going to happen. And anyone who's my husband who used to introduced me as obese to other people that I hadn't met yet. And when they met me, they would say, you're not obese, because I attracted a man who validated all of those messages that I got when I was a kid. So I dragged all of that into my present and continued to use it to beat myself up. And in my own journey that you can read about in 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are, it's my #1 best-selling book. And I'm not pushing the book. Well, I am, of course, pushing the book because part proceeds go to Habitat for Humanity, but I'm pushing the book because it's helping a lot of people deal with their demons from childhood trauma. And 7 out of 10 of us have had it. And I'm no exception. And that's why I wrote the book, because there is a way out. So if you got those messages of you're ugly or you're fat, which I did, and then drew into your experience people who validated that, like my husband did, or you know, you've let yourself go. I hear that in my head all the time, every time I get on the scale. And I have to do the work to say, no, hold on, that's BS. That's a belief system. I have not let myself go. I have definitely not been really blissciplined around diet and exercise. I haven't. And I've been busy, and I'm still busy, and I can still set some goals. And what I've been doing in the last year is saying, you know what? I think when I eat, a lot of flour, I get bloated. So what do? I eat less flour and I'm not as bloated. When I'm active, I feel better. When I do the exercises and stretching exercises, I feel better. When I'm outside, I feel better. So I'm doing things to act on my own behalf that help me feel better about me, because that's the ticket. I mean, the bottom line here is, what am I doing? Does it make me feel better about myself or worse about myself? If I have a Krispy Kreme donut, it makes me feel better for a California second. And then I feel really bad because I hit myself over and blame myself and beat up myself for a lot longer than that moment of, that's good. Now, do I not eat them? No, I still do. I'm 88% perfect with my goals. I still have a 12% imperfect, and I will, go off every once in a while, but I know how to get back on. Day one again, just like the 21-day fast from complaining. Day one again. So don't stop trying. That's the answer. Just keep getting back on there. Don't worry about everybody else's judgment or compliments. You are the boss of you. And that exercise is in chapter 1 out of I can't even remember the first chapter of my book, Out of Loneliness and Hope. That's the chapter that helps us delineate all those voices in our head. So that's your answer. If you would like a copy of my book, today's Asian Oprah giveaway is a free copy of the audiobook. The first person to go to drmarissa.life and put in Asian Oprah giveaway will get it. But it's not that expensive to get. It's $20 on my website. You can get it cheaper on Amazon. But if you want me to sign it, just go to drmarissa.life. Give yourself the gift of finally getting inside your own head and sorting out all those voices so you can find some peace. Because I want you to find some peace around your weight, around your relationships, around your past, because that's my job. All right? Does it make sense? Okay, when we come back, I have a special spotlight interview for you. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more. Take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. And the spotlight interview today is with one of my favorite people who are great examples of taking adversity and turning it around and doing great things on the planet. His name is Frederick. His hands were cut off in the Rwandan Genocide. He came in studio, and I hope at the end you see him actually sign his book with his arms, which was just a heartbreaking, heart-opening moment for me, and I wanted to share it with you. So here he is, and enjoy.
I ask of my listeners. And speaking of inspirations, today's guest is someone who absolutely does take the positive on a very negative situation or something that he has gone through. My guest is Frederick. He was a 15-year-old boy in his native Rwanda. He was dragged from a bus and brutally attacked by the Hutu militia rebels. When he refused to kill 17 fellow passengers, the rebels hacked off Frederick's hands with machetes and left him for dead. With every reason to hate, to hurt, to fade from life, Frederick instead has become a Rwandan genocide survivor and co-founder of the Ubumwe Community Center, an organization that helps people like me to discover their purpose and abilities in spite of their circumstances. Please welcome to my studio the author of Frederick, A Story of Boundless Hope.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Frederick. And as I do with all of my guests, I'd like you to take me back to that point that I just described. And in order to do so, I want to connect with you through breath, through chi. So I'm just going to close my eyes gently and ask you to do the same. And just take a deep breath in and releasing through the mouth. As I settle in and I just connect with you and feel your presence and feel who you are. And then gently opening your eyes. Tell me what happened when you were 15.
Well, when I was 15 years old, I was live with my family, and the situation there and my in Rwanda, it was really hard. So I was traveling, going to see my aunt. Her husband was killed, and I stopped. In a way, I mean, what happened there at 1998, that's what this happened to me. Was part of the killer who was killing during the during the genocide.
Right.
They just come back, continue to kill people. So
this was after the pact was signed. There was not supposed to be any more killing, correct?
Right.
So this was after the peace pact had been signed.
It was after almost like 3 years.
3 years after. So you had no inkling that there was any danger. You get on the bus.
We're in my area where I grew up in a village. It was security, but we can hear this story happen to other villages where the killers just have done like 5 people, 10, and in a moment where I was going to see what happened to my aunt, her husband was killed. That's a message we get. Going there to see how I can help her, and I didn't get a chance to be able to help her. Because what happened, they kill her until Haman stopped the bus and take everybody out. And
they had guns,
machete, and some of the wood. That is kind of material they use, their weapons.
Okay.
When they was stop the bus,
right?
Everybody know what's going on. The most people are the adult, but at that moment, it was everybody from a different village, different town.
Right.
We was included on the bus.
Okay.
That means they were Tutsi, Hutu.
So there was
everybody was
everybody
in it,
was on the bus. It wasn't just one group.
Right.
And let me just interrupt you for 1 second. For those listeners who weren't aware or didn't listen to news at that time, just an estimated 800,000 people were killed in 100 days in the 1994 Rwandan genocide. Thousands more were maimed and mutilated, and rebel attacks continued for many years after 1994. More than 300,000 children were separated from their families or orphaned. Rwanda, a small landlocked nation in Central Africa, is one of the poorest and most underdeveloped nations in the world. The genocide dramatically impacted Rwanda's education system and, of course, your life. So just a little bit of history for those of you who don't remember what happened. So, right. but it was supposed to be over, so you had Rwandans of all kinds. You had the Tutus and you had the other groups as well.
Well, if you are in Rwanda, it's hard to tell, like, this is the Hutu, this is the Tutsi.
Yes.
We are one. We are Rwandan.
Yes.
But the current, they know who are because
how do they know?
Can see. They during that time before they use the ID card, but that time it was not supposed to be written Hutu or Tutsi because it was over.
Right.
And they just decide that they have to kill all. They don't says because there was a situation. I think they plan to kill everybody.
They still wanted to kill the Tutsis.
Right.
Even though they were not supposed to.
Right.
Okay, got it.
And I was 15 years old. I think they chose me to train me to kill, to be able to join them to kill. That's what I feel like. When the moment when they tie our arms and using a rope, they can, or you can tell they're going to kill us. So they asked me to kill all of my fellow passenger, and I said no, kill me first. That was only one moment I feel God gave him a chance to live until today.
Wow.
And they beat me around, they strapped me, and they just hit by guns, and they...
And you knew you were going to probably die by saying no.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I was.
But you
I
weren't
was about
afraid?
To die.
You weren't afraid?
I was deeply.
Okay.
Already
Let's,
died.
yeah. I just want to be
deeply
clear.
died.
Okay. But
Died.
no matter how afraid you were, you would not kill the fellow passengers.
Because I know that is sin. It's hard to kill the people we met in a bus. My brother, my sister.
Right.
I feel as a Rwandan, we know what was happening before, because when you kill somebody no reason, I was not able to do that,
Right.
because I know
You knew
God
it was, yeah.
doesn't want me.
Yeah, okay. So then you resigned to probably getting killed. They tied your arms.
They tie everybody arms
And then
and take them off clothes. They
stripped you.
take
Okay.
the clothes on,
Yep.
and they kill everybody as an example to show me that if I don't do that, they will do that to me too.
Wow.
But as I was standing in the buffalo leg and I say no, they punish me to cut off my hands as to show other Rwandan. That was a punish. So, but they said that they're going to give him a message to send to the village. That was a message was to cut off my hands.
Wow.
But before, for me, I feel like they're going to write paper so I can hand out to someone. I didn't realize
You
that
didn't?
they're going
Okay.
to cut off my hands. So in the moment, they decide to cut off my hands by
Wow.
machete.
Wow.
It take like many times to be able to cut off, because the machete was really dull.
It wasn't sharp. So it was.
Yeah,
It was. Oh,
because it's, some
I'm so.
they
I'm
use
sorry.
they use for a long time to kill people, cutting wood.
I am sorry. I am
Sorry.
sorry that happened.
They'll be sorry, God,
Yes, yes,
Can't
but
have
at the
the
same
other
time,
purpose, yeah.
when things like that happen, I'm not feeling sorry for you, but I'm sorry that happened. That must have been horrific
Thank
as a
you.
15-year-old. I mean, I just can't even imagine. And then, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, instead of going to the streets to beg, you decided.
Well, that moment, I was living in a hospital actually, which was hard to be able to hand out what I was living the life situation.
Right.
I decided that I want to go to beg and see where I can get help.
Right.
And I found that it's not really easy for me to even to carry things, to carry
Right.
food
Right.
with me with no hands, and decide that is not really good to begging.
Right.
I decide to help, ask the other people join me, put hand together. I'm not begging.
Right.
So I decide I go back to the orphanage where I used to live and share with my friend Zachary. He was my teacher, and I share with him this story.
And we'll be right back with more from my spotlight interview with Frederick here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You are tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. My brain's too full to go through the list. But welcome back. As promised, I'm giving you more of my fantastic spotlight interview with Frederick, who not only survived, but is thriving after the Rwandan genocide. Enjoy.
We are blessed today to have a very special guest, Frederick, who had his hands cut off by the Rwandan regime when he was 15 years old. But instead of letting that get him down or change his life for the worse, he has taken that experience, and as Reverend Carolyn said before the break, has taken that and really brought forth his unique talent, gift, and ability of both compassion and understanding to start a center in his home country, Rwanda, that helps others like him. And then he also met a woman named Jessica McCall, and I'm going to let her tell the story of how they met and what they're doing now. Jessica, welcome to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So
it's a privilege to be here.
Absolutely. And actually, before you start, we also have her executive director, I believe.
Yes.
And that is Linda, also here on the show. Could we welcome Linda to the show? Linda Romano.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Could you sit up just a little closer to your mic? That would be awesome. Now, Jessica, please tell me what happened the first time you met Frederick.
Well, it's kind of an interesting story how we met.
That's why I'm asking.
You know, and I was in a dentist's office.
Oh.
And I read People's Magazine about a fantastic woman named Mrs. Carr. And I won't go into her long story, but she is an absolutely fascinating woman and had the Imbabazi orphanage where Frederick was at. And so in the article, it said something about she would like teddy bears for her children. Well, I traveled around. We had many programs in Jesse's place, but one of them was to take teddy bears to hospitals, to Mexico, to Guatemala, to children, because everyone needs a hug. So I thought, I can't meet Mrs. Roosevelt, I can't meet Martin Luther King, I can't meet Gandhi, but I can go and meet Mrs. Carr and take 120 teddy bears to her.
Fantastic.
Well, it was a great idea. However, I lent the magazine to someone and they lost it. And I could not find it for a couple years. And one day I'm watching primetime TV, and they have this lovely young man from Rwanda who didn't speak much English at all. They had an interpreter, and he had this fabulous smile, as we all know, that lights up the room. Well, it lit up the television, and he told his story, which, of course, I was very touched by. But they showed him going back to Rwanda on a bus. As he was driving up, I saw this sign that said the Imbabazi Orphanage. I said, I think that's where I want to go.
Oh, wow.
And so we focused down, and there was Mrs. Carr. She was in her 80s by then, maybe late 80s. So I got in touch with the television station, got a copy of the show. We got in touch and happened through there to meet Zachary. And I got my teddy bears together and went to Rwanda.
Wow.
So on the day before I was going to leave, Frederick invited me to the park to meet some of his friends. Had various degrees of challenges. So it was kind of raining out lightly, and he kept saying, let's go pray. Let's go pray. And I thought, well, you know, it'd be nice to pray in the park, you know.
Right.
So, but that wasn't it. He wanted me to come over and see his friends play volleyball, of which he's very good at. And, you know, one man he would hit the ball and kind of fall over, but they kept going. And there was a man who had been shot in the head. And he turned to me, very agape-like, as you will hear, and he said to me, I want to thank you for all you're going to do for us. And I turned to Frederick and said, let's have a center. I had no intentions of having a center. I intended to send money to Frederick and Zachary and the orphanage. But he said, Frederick, Zachary, and I have been praying for this.
Oh.
And so
you went from teddy bears to a center.
And we've been like family since then. And it's just been a wonderful privilege to be a part of this, to know that many people are being helped. And
Absolutely.
So being co-founder is one thing, but Jesse's Place, from here, we collaborate with the rest of the center in Jesse's Place, and we have what is called the home visit program.
Yeah.
And we go to very rural areas
In Rwanda.
And we help to people, women, especially women, that have very severely mentally challenged children or old people, where they have it's extreme poverty. And we're able to have a co-op. You know, we're growing gardens now.
That's beautiful.
We're helping houses be built where there was like no roofs and rain coming in. And so our mission is to do that. And I've been there this year, staying a number of months, and I will be moving there in December. So
you're moving there. Wow.
Yes,
how exciting is that?
So I can just continue to be there every day with Frederick and Zachary and all the loving children.
That's beautiful. Now, I'm just going to take a breath and a little segue here, because if you're a first-time listener or you don't listen to my show a lot, you might be saying, well, that's good and nice. This is called the put the moose on the table moment. It's my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. So there are those who would say, that's all good and fine, but why don't you help people who need help in our backyard? Because in America, we have people who really would need your kind of help. And why are you helping people as far away in Rwanda? Why do you care? And my response is, this is the Dr. Marissa response, and I'm sure you'll have your own, but my response is, why can't we do it all? Why can't we celebrate the fact that Jessica has felt a calling that was sort of directed by you and Zachary and the power of your prayer. And then if you would like to do some help in our backyard, it would be great if you could do that. Because I think the whole idea that we are somehow patriotically bound, I think I call it planet patriotism, is what I would like to see. That we all care about everyone instead of just who's within our boundaries. So that's my little Dr. Marissa insert there. Frederick, one of the most fascinating parts of your story is the one where you ran into the guy who actually chopped your hands off. Tell me about that.
I was sitting in a cafe shop, having coffee, and this man walking into.
How many years
inside.
after this?
Well, it was.
How old were you?
I was around 17, 18.
70, so three years later.
Yeah,
okay.
Because I was living in a hospital for a long time, and I moved in the hospital 1 year, and I went to the orphanage. So in the orphanage, when I was walk out, visit your friends, so they take me to that place. So where actually I met this man. He walked inside. He know who I am, but
knew.
I don't know. I don't know him
know.
because the faces was, you
were in trauma. Yeah.
Yeah, in a bad situation, sometimes you don't
of
know
course.
what's going on.
Of course.
And he knew me. He said that, I know who you are. And I said, how you know me? Well, this man, he tried keeping telling me what was going on. I hear that who was one, and he told me this, what he done to me. I feel like he was asking forgive. And other way I can feel that even he was open to share that is not something easy to tell. And yeah, I was sitting with a sister, and he was having a friend come over there. So he said that means it's kind of a testimony. When I say this, I really feel like the way I responded to him was good to me. I tell him after he done to tell me, I said, even before you tell me this, I was already forgive you. And now I forgive you because I know that forgive is a key of life. Because into the hospital, I was learning so many things, saying people helping me, giving me love, giving me hope. That it was another way I feel like God used other way to figure out, because I know that if I don't forgive him, I'll keep tied with him. But if I will forgive him, I will lift him and I will be free. Because when you forgive, you have power, you have a good life, you have
Yes.
everything
That's beautiful.
from that.
So when you don't forgive someone, you're tied to them.
To him, yeah.
But when you forgive, you set them
Openly.
and yourself free.
Yes.
Beautiful. And I'm a big cheerleader for forgiveness. If you've
Thank
listened
you.
to my show, I absolutely, I have this little saying, if you don't forgive and you're really angry at someone and you hate them and you don't want to look at them, to not forgive is like I'm going to gouge out my own eye so I don't have to look at you anymore. So I'm hurting myself more than I'm hurting that person by not
Absolutely.
forgiving. But for those of us who are realists, and I'm not actually, but I'm going to say this on behalf of the listening realists. Were you never angry with him? Were you never bitter? Were you ever, that first year in the hospital? Was there a point where you, where did you get this enlightenment, or what I would say, what decided? I'm sure it's the same force that gave you the courage to say, I'm not going to kill the passengers. But share with me what happened in the hospital. Were there things that happened, or?
Well, in life in hospital was not easy, as you don't have hands.
Yeah.
You don't have everything. You feel you're lost.
Right.
I was feel useless, hopeless, feel painful. Every day hunger for my life. It was really completely difficult to live without hands. And once time I would take a decision to kill myself by using medicine. I was correcting from
The
every
daily,
day,
right.
daily I keep them and I put them together. And one night, during the night, actually, before other people are sleeping, because I say that, but it was not a place to sleep. It was a place painful for everybody. Have a wound, have a problem, a leg cut off.
Right.
So for me, I feel like I don't want to leave because I was still and painful from both arms. When it comes like fire, and I feel like how I live without the hands.
Right.
So that moment, I take a decision. I ate all
You
the
did.
medicine,
Okay.
and I waiting to die. Next morning, I was still alive, and it was.
Were
I
you
tried
mad?
to-
Were you mad?
Well, I was
Or you
really
glad?
like feel like I don't feel like this was medicine. I ate all, but I didn't die. This is kind of like magic. I feel like why I didn't die.
Right.
Why? But I was still have some painful from medicine because my neck
You weren't
was
supposed to
solid
take
there.
that. Yes.
And but because I would do it in secret, I don't want to show everybody.
Right.
I know what was wrong, but I can feel the way my body was weak. But
Right.
finally, I didn't die, and I said, God left me for a reason. And I can feel that moment when I was angry for myself. I turned because hospital all the time. We will have a song singing over
Right.
there. Means God was listening to that song. And because promise, God says, when 3 people sitting talking about me, I'm sitting between them. So I realized that God always watching me.
That's
how I
beautiful.
feel like I want to take a moment to think, not to think only myself, but to think to other people and share them a story. Because when you share a story, again, it's where you found a moment for getting medicine.
Yes.
By telling a story, what happened to you, what it was, how hard it was. So, and sometimes you help yourself, you help other people.
Beautiful.
By telling them a
Yes.
story.
Yes. So you knew that you were supposed to be alive for a reason because you couldn't even kill yourself.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
sign right there that you're on the planet for a purpose. And that is beautiful what you just said too, is that by telling your story, by talking about the bad things that happen to yourself in a way that is to relate and help other people, you help yourself as well. And that's beautiful. That is
Thank you.
beautiful.
No words, right? No words. When I work with my life balance coaching clients who are complaining about their life and they have their arms, their legs, money in the bank, food in the fridge, and I send them to watch Freddie, who is not just adjusting to life without his arms, with no hatred to the Rwandan perpetrators who came and chopped his arms off. He's actually helping others who were affected by the genocide. So he's one of my heroes. I hope you enjoyed that interview. If you want to see the entire interview, please go to my YouTube channel, free subscribe, and you'll get the entire interview to share with your friends and to just know that, you know, life is beautiful, resilient. We are all one of a kind, wonderful. All the pain in life is mandatory, but suffering is optional. And when you can take your pain and chisel it into knowing that you're one of a kind, wonderful, with a unique purpose to help others, you got the ticket for life. And that's it for today's show. Thanks for continuing to support Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live, reminding you that it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. And remember, have the best day ever.
Tonight, we're wrapping up Women's History Month with a story about a woman whose mission is to spread happiness. Dr. Marissa Pei is a survivor of childhood trauma and a reformed tiger mom. She's an accomplished woman who has endured hardship, but she says she's also found a path to happiness.
I'm Dr. Marissa, and I'm making history in spreading happiness. I was born in a little town, a little German town in Canada. My parents came from China, and they wanted me to blend in as much as possible, so I was told, don't speak Chinese. So I learned actually to lie about who I was. People would say, are you Hawaiian? And I'd say, yes, because Chinese was just not a good thing to be. I had a tiger mom, and in an effort to